It's Sunday night. It's 9 o'clock. It is time for the Super League. And we really are at the business end of things now. Season 15 coming towards its conclusion. Who is going to get those top 6 spaces? Less than 10 games to go of the regular campaign. Good evening, everyone. I'm delighted to be here. I'm full of energy after a black belt boot camp today that I wasn't expecting to go to. So I hope you're full of energy. I know that my co-coms for this evening is full of energy because he was telling me just how buzzing he was to be on double duty this weekend. Yes, it was the star of last night's Late Limbs record. It is the Stacky to Boss Ross. How are you, buddy?
Good evening. Good evening. Yes.
Hello again.
Well, yes, we meet again. It's like we've never been apart.
Well, exactly. And I'm hoping to have just as much fun tonight as we had last night.
Yeah, I enjoyed last night. I mean, it was a late one, but
it was a late one.
Passed a few hours on, didn't it?
It certainly did. And because of my plans that didn't then end up happening, it was a later upload. But I do now know that on Spotify and on our YouTube channel, where most of you are probably watching this now, the latest episode of Late Limbs with myself, Smuts, and my esteemed colleague here. It's, I don't know, about 45 minutes worth of general chat and Super League, and then best part of an hour and a half maybe of games, quizzes, and just general tomfoolery, I think is the word I'm looking for. But yeah, no, you were well, exactly. You were cracking value last night, mate, and I hope that transcends across the airways when people either watch it or listen to it via their desired app of choice. But we're not here to talk about Late Limbs. We're not here to talk about Brighton hammering Sheffield United. We're not here to talk about the fact that Celtic seem to somehow be throwing away the Scottish Premier League. We are here to talk about the Super League. And here is the Super League in its entirety. Now, I have had messages to say that Smuts is pretty much already asleep, so we have free reign to do with what we want within reason, unless Kitchen Dan turns up in the chat. I also know that Jens said he's likely to miss the first 20 to 30 minutes, so if we can hold off on their game. We obviously had a chat last night on the record about where you see the where you see Stackington and the rest of the season going. But just before we kick things off, let's have a quick word on the top 6. If I was to just put you on record now, with no preparation time, and say, there's your top 6, how many of those 6 finish in the top 6? What are you telling me?
I would say 5 of the 6 remain.
Oh, who's missing out?
I reckon East Coast will pip Stanley to 6th.
Oofed. So no place for Foss Road or Exiles or Sloths or Dudley or even yourselves?
It's a long shot. I mean, anything can happen in the Super League, but...
anything has happened in the Super League.
Yeah, I mean, Sloths are on a good run. I think they had a little wobble, but Alf did pull them out of where they were, and they've had a good run. But I think they'd have to carry that run on for a longer period if they were to make the playoffs.
Okay. Obviously, leaving yourself and Fulchester till late and trying to leave Vikings a little bit. I mean, it is a humdinger of a fixture anyway, so we'd like to leave that one fairly late if Jens is to allow. Is there any game you'd particularly like to start with?
I think Badgers Sloths could be a good place to start.
Badgers Sloths, let's do that then. So we start with the home side, who have Javier Saviola unavailable for this one. Less absentees this week across the league, but Saviola is an important one for Badgers. Zizi Roberts starts in his place, with Elbert getting a place on the bench. Agahawa comes back as well in place of Nakata. Everything else remains the same. Obviously, Roberts has a bit of history in the Super League. He's a very Tato player, but missing Saviola, I mean, if we just look up his stats, 7 goals in 15 starts and a 7.19 average, he's going to be a loss tonight, isn't he?
Yeah, that is if there's anyone you don't want to miss, it's Saviola. But like you say, Roberts can come in and do a decent job. I do like that Badgers team. It's solid everything in it.
Yeah, the word I was going to use is balanced.
Yes, yeah.
It looks decent throughout. I don't necessarily think it looks pound for pound the best, but it looks solid and dependable in all areas. Yeah,
Tato knows his stuff, doesn't he? He knows what he's doing.
He certainly does. And his opposition tonight, they're without the suspended Taribo West and the injured Etsa Berea. They revert back to their original narrow formation, as opposed to if I just remind, last time out, they kind of moved those central midfielders back. Mark Hurst starts, as Alf suggested he might. Rivaldo in the more attacking role as well than we saw the other evening. And of course, it was kind of highlighted, I think, in the last show, but we can't not say just how good Ronnie Johnson's been this season.
Yeah, he's done well, hasn't he? Where is he at? He's 7.8, yeah.
I mean, that form, even in the last 5 games, 8-9, 8-7-9 is scary, isn't it?
Yeah, Alf's obviously got him doing what he wants him to do.
Certainly has. So, first game of the evening. Let's see if we can whet the appetite for the rest of the show. Let's have a prediction. Are we going big?
I'm going to go with a Badgers narrow win.
Badgers narrow win against the narrow formation. Let's find out if you are correct. First chance of the evening goes to Sloths. Even Steve, who's just joined the chat. Seen him sneak in there. Badgers playing themselves into this now. 15-16 now on the clock. Indirect free kick. Seenan Penza and Toldo. That's a big battle, that. At one end of the pitch, Adilson goes in the book. Plenty of set pieces seeming to be handed out, although not necessarily in dangerous areas. Nicky Forenko doing bits just before half-time. And Badgers take the lead, and there is Nicky Forenko doing more than bits just before half-time. A big goal on the whistle there.
It's a close game, isn't it?
It certainly is. It looks like it is a sort of midfield tussle because the names you were seeing and the free kicks that were being dished out, it didn't look like they were in dangerous areas. So it looks like these two teams are really going to war in the centre of the pitch.
Yeah, yes. You've got Tato's got 3 DMCs against Alf's 3 AMCs.
That's right, yeah.
There's plenty of bodies in the middle there doing whatever it is they're doing.
Taylor's asked me to click on Nikiforenko. He says he's turning good. So that's now 4 goals and 3 assists in 15 starts. His average rating possibly not representative of his contribution this season. And even in his form, I mean, there's a 9, a 5, a 7, 8, and a 7. So he is just starting to find that little bit of consistency. Still has that odd one in however many where he's not quite up to it.
Yeah, I like Nikiforenko. He's one of them players that I'll always try and get on a home save. I'll always try and get him. Don't matter who you are, he can play at any level, I find.
Martin not happy with the assist maker. Let's have a look over at Sloths. And he makes a great point. 10 goal contributions is all an AMC needs. Lovely stuff. Duggan's saying, if Badgers beat Sloths here, they're the first playing this formation to beat Sloths since they went narrow. Tato going as is. Anything jumping out at you from an away performance?
Nothing really to shout about at the minute. Lots of 6s and a few 7s, defensive 7s. Yeah, so not much to shout about.
No, they certainly need to try and create a little bit more and get that support to their main man and Penza. I mean, he's got 4 in 15 starts, but if I remember rightly, it was 2 games in a row where he scored 2. So they need. I just don't understand why, although the formation is working for getting results, he's at the point to be the main man and he's just not contributing.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. You want your sort of your big money your money guy to be getting more than 4 in at the halfway point, or we're past halfway point now, aren't we?
Yeah, and Alf is reacting and he's going big. Adilson on the yellow card off. Trezeguet on 2 up top. Could that alter the outlook for the away side? Let's find out as we go to 60 minutes. It was Badgers who started quickest. Sloth starting to create a little bit. I'm seeing Trezeguet's name getting involved. We've reached the hour. And we pause the game with Badgers having a free kick. Desai, another one in that sort of Ronnie Johnson mould, isn't he? Another experienced campaigner having a good season. I mean, 1 goal, 3 assists in 16 starts up to now. A 756 rating and another good game here tonight. Nobody below a 7 in the Badgers ranks.
Yeah, like you say, Desai and Ronnie Johnson, what are they both in there? One's 33, one's 34. Yeah. Just showing the youngers how it should be done.
Rolls Royce players.
Yeah.
That's it. Showing the youngins how it's done. I like that, though. I like that we have that mix of there's a few younger players. You look at the likes of Scally, who get regular runouts, but then you get your experienced campaigners like Desai and Johnson as well, who can still contribute to the highest level, not just team players kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, neither of them are players that you'd class as like world-class players in the game, but they always turn up and do a job.
Johnson is the best old DDMC on the game for me, says Steve Wright. And Tato is done. Roberts off for Elbert and is saying it's looking a good performance so far. As for Sloth, still a load of 6s throughout. It's just not quite happening for them so far tonight. The only player above a 7 is the aforementioned Ronnie Johnson. Trezeguet looks like he's contributed a little bit since he's come on. And looking at the conditions, there's nothing too much to write home about. Alf is bringing his main man on. Mark
bringing on his Rolls Royce.
His Rolls Royce, indeed. Zinedine Zidane coming on. Do you understand that move?
Yeah, I like it. I think he wants an arrow on Zidane, doesn't he?
I haven't seen anything come up about that yet.
Zidane for.
Oh yeah, sorry. It says it in the same message with an arrow.
That's it.
There we go. Dimble, good evening, sir. Hope you're well. I hear rumblings on social media that there is shit going on at Grimsby. Please do divulge because it will make Swindon fans feel better because we are a basket case club at the moment. Looks like that is the only change for Alf. So let's see if it brings dividends for him. Martin suggesting 1-1 draw incoming. Oh, Desai scored an own goal.
Just as we were singing his praises.
Trezeguet save, can't hold on to it. Rivaldo! And then it's completely turned it around. It's been disallowed. There's no way. There's no way. Absolute. Oh my God. Sloths. What is going on? Absolute scenes. Agahawa, this isn't over yet either, I don't think. 84 on the clock. Still Agahawa. Saved, he can't hold on to it. But he has at the second attempt. Agahawa has a go. I'm seeing the chat going through. Steve saying, fuck me. Duggan saying, what? Tato saying, Kinel. It's a goal kick. Toldo takes it quickly, but Rivaldo and Penza. Rosicky. Oh, Toldo saves it. We're into injury time. What a chaos game this has turned into in this second half. Free kick awarded. Addo. Rivaldo! Oh, fucking hell, they've done it! They've actually wrapped it up as well. Rivaldo's first ever goal for Sloths. And they have taken Badgers apart. It's taken 20 minutes of absolute chaos, starting with a Desai own goal. And Badgers have been found wanting to the narrow.
I think Tato's right in his comments. Zidane has changed the game there.
I know I read some of these out, but just to read the chat for the minute that Desai own goal went in, we've got Duggan, we've got Tato. Completely understand your situation there, Dimble. Steve Wright, Tato saying, good game, Alf. Hate the narrow, creates so many chances. Viva the Super League, take a Sloths win here, me. Well, you got it. Zidane changed the game, says Tato. Ian reacted to it as well. Mr. Edwards, take it away, win here, me. Rivaldo has been on the meth at halftime, says Duggan. What subs that, says Alf. We've even got an oof from Dimble. That's one of the best 45s from a player I've ever seen, says Duggan. Smut saying, I've got 10 minutes of energy in me if we could go next. If not, no worries. And Rock saying Alf is slowly working his way through the league like a modern-day Charles Bronson in Death Wish. A huge turnabout in that second half, wasn't it?
Yeah, crazy stuff, isn't it? I mean, Tato was well in charge. It makes you wonder if the changes do make a difference. Well, I mean, they must do. Tato made the one change, which you wouldn't have thought would have made much of a difference because it's a like-for-like player. It's obviously the changes that Alf has made that's obviously kicked something into gear for Sloths, and they've gone and won 3-1. So fair play to Alf.
Toldo with the rarest of fives. I mean, there was 3 or 4 things where we saw Toldo makes a save but couldn't hold on to it. He was just having an absolute mare in the second half, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think that's where it's gone wrong because like Okoronkos on an 8, Klomp on a 7. So the ratings aren't too bad other than Toldo.
As for Sloth stats, I mean, Zidane hasn't really changed the game himself. Trezeguet's had a good impact. Duggan's saying Rivaldo was genuinely unbelievable there in the second half. Where's Rivaldo on the list? Why can't I see it? There he is. I mean, he's only rated an 8, really. The thing is, it's not a spectacular looking set of ratings for Sloths, is it?
No, plenty of 8s. I mean, Rivaldo's got an assist, 2 shots, 1 on target and 1 goal. So he's not done a lot, but what he has done has contributed.
Absolutely. Well, what a great game to start the action off. Let's get Smuts out of the way before he falls asleep. He's not used to, working anymore. So doing that is tiring him out. Still without Vieira, still without Peruzzi, still without Riquelme. He opts to go back to the Louis Theroux cat formation. And an interesting one. Who was it that got dropped down? I don't remember. Somebody got dropped down. into the reserves. Anyway, Andre Oyer has been put back into the first team squad, and he's come straight back into the starting lineup. This is, and it's very unsmuts-like for me to say this, Romagnoli, that's it, yeah. He's already given up with his assistant manager's pick of out-of-league signing and dumped him. I believe the phrase was, he's dead to me. This is quite possibly one of the most defensive-looking teams I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
The amount of DMCs and just variants of... Even Van der Vaart isn't even an AM. He's just an MLC. It's so defensive. It's ridiculous.
But maybe that's where he's going wrong. The likes of Gerrard, maybe out of position. I don't know. It is. I mean, he's missing Vieira, isn't he? That's the big... No place for Liverani tonight. No place for Franca Lawson as well, who's been a mainstay of this team. Really, he doesn't even make the bench as he keeps space for Radoy. Just see Smut's comments there that he's saying that Rox has got 18 strikers, so he's gone defensive.
Well, we'll see. I'd be interested to see how Oyer in particular plays, because me and I think Martin in particular have been saying he has no place in the Foss Road reserves. So the fact that he's come straight back into the team, let's see how that pans out. He mentions Rox's strikers. He's without Raul today, still without Zambrotta, and still without Melito. Crespo moves from right to left with Saha starting. I think that was the only change. Batistuta getting a place on the bench. Exiles finally came to play last time out. Vieri getting a hat-trick. Can you see them repeating that at home to Foss Road tonight?
Quite possibly, yes. I do. Crespo and Vieri are like anyone's sort of Christmas wish list, I reckon, for a striking pair. On paper, anyway.
A score prediction for game number 2 of the evening then, please?
I am going to go with a comfortable home win, 3-1.
3-1 home win. That's a huge call from Co-Coms. But perhaps not surprising given that Foss Road are away, although they do look to have started reasonably well. But there we go. Figo with his first goal for Exiles makes it 1, and 1 could very quickly become 2 if Exiles have their way here. Vieri missing 1, if not 2 chances. Foss trying to counter, but all the pressure seemingly coming from the home side. Sahar puts 1 over. Another free kick. Lots of pink and purple text here in the attacking sense anyway. No matter how defensive Foss Road have gone, Exiles are running rampant at the moment, but just failing to score a second. And that'll encourage the away side. Another, just before the half-time whistle, another chance goes begging. That looks to me like Exiles have had an obscene amount of chances.
Yeah, I mean, there was plenty of green tech. Yeah, you're right there, haven't they? But they've obviously done well just to keep it just to the 1-0 at the minute.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Could Exiles rue those missed opportunities?
Wow. I reckon they're still good for it.
Looking at the stats, Paulinho Santos on the yellow card, the only player below a 7. Conditional-wise, no issues at all. And one of the stronger benches in the league, in my opinion, Exiles.
Yeah, it's a nice balanced bench, isn't it? You got a bit of everything there. You got Gravison, who's defensive if he needs to be, and Batistuta, again, an old Rolls Royce that can come on and do a job.
Absolutely. Looking at Foss Road, all 6s and 7s, no one above a 7. As we said, perhaps fortunate that it's only 1. And the thing that jumps out to me, such low numbers of sort of passes, which suggest the ball retention just is not there.
Yeah, it looks that way, doesn't it? Yeah. Not many key. You have a look at the key column. There's 1 for Emirate and 1 for Cliver. That's it.
Yeah. It doesn't look great from a Foss perspective. Rox is sticking. I mean, Alex and Santa Cruz, the only attacking options on the bench. For me, I mean, I like Helguera. and I think there is a place for Alex in the Super League. I've never been sold on Santa Cruz personally. But for me, you look at the difference in benches, and it tells you why one side I think should still be looking at the top 6, and one side I think will fall short. Ironically, it's the team that billed themselves as the season 2 side.
I know Smuts does like Santa Cruz, and he was toying with giving him a run out, but he's stuck with Cliver, and I mean he's done okay as far. So
Smut suggesting that's the last time he listens to me because Andre Oya isn't necessarily setting the world alight on his first appearance of the season, which I think is maybe a little bit harsh, considering he's been messing about with Enzo Maresca all season.
Yeah, it still is.
I'm sure if I think back to what Foss Road started with to where they are now, I would have had a better squad assembled than what he's got.
Yeah, I know for myself personally, I came in obviously to Stackington and sort of ripped it apart almost got rid of everyone and brought new faces in, which some people sort of stuck their nose up, but every manager's got their players that they like, dislike, or are unsure on.
I just don't think the balance is quite right with Foss Road, unfortunately, and it's led to this sort of negative tactic that he's playing.
Yeah, I mean, if you take the players individually, you know, Ziriberto, Emerton, Hoffland, they're all quality players.
Yep.
But there's obviously just something, like you say, is it the fact that he's playing maybe possibly too defensive?
Rock's asking if Smuts has fallen asleep. I imagine I'm just getting chapter reverse for the substitutions.
You'll have a paragraph come through in a minute.
Smuts doing an Alf here, says Duggan. He certainly is. He's taking his time. I will give him another 30 seconds and then I'm just going to carry on. Here we go. So the Oya experiment lasts exactly 45 minutes. But here we go again, because we got a player of Super League pedigree being replaced by Santa Cruz. Gerard back to DM. Wait, so we go in like this.
That's what it, yeah.
That's possibly even worse. I don't know what he's doing here. I mean, this is why he hasn't been called up to the All-Stars League, because shit like this goes on.
I think that's it. I think that's...
Well, I'm assuming that's it, because he said no idea what that looks like, so that's what it looks like. I'm going to continue with this.
Let's go.
Let's go, indeed. He's put fine. Fine. Nearly 2 for Exiles. And we reached the hour, and somehow it's still only 1-0. And I've got a horrible feeling after all the criticism, Foss Road are going to nick a point here.
Yeah, it's written in the stars, isn't it?
Performance-wise, still decent. Still only Santos below a 7. Conditional-wise, no one below 88, which is Figo. So I wouldn't be too surprised if Exiles go as is. As for Foss Road, oh, no, they are making a change. Gravison's coming on. He's protecting the yellow card. Santa Cruz has offered next to nothing since coming on. Ratings haven't really improved. Condition hasn't really changed. It's pretty much as is for Foss Road. What would you be maybe considering in this position?
I would possibly bring Alex on. Like you say, he's got some pedigree to be able to possibly create a few chances.
Okay, well, there's the Gravison for Santos change confirmed. Yeah, it's who Alex comes on for, really, isn't it? I mean, I would
take Rakoba off myself.
Well, see, that would be the obvious answer for me, but I'm also looking at Maresca and saying that just get him off as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you could possibly swap Gerard and Maresca back again, put Helguera into the holding midfield role, then bring Alex on for Rakoba. Right. So we got Maresca left of Gerard. BDV.
I think that's meant to be.
I'm guessing that's supposed to be VDV.
Yeah, Van der Vaart, yeah.
Alex for Rakoba.
And then he smuts
I'm off to bed. Good game, Rocks. Excellent. Yep, and we have Gravison for Santos for Exiles. So let's play this one out and see what happens. And there's just a little bit more green text started to appear. Because there's no way, surely no way, Foss Road are stealing a point here. He spotted an earlier incident. Gerard is straight offside. Exiles come forward, looking for that second goal that will surely kill it. Fieri off the bar. And here they come again, the home side. Excellent tackle there. Tomasi picks up Crespo. Figo! And Maresco is now off injured. So I'm just going to straight swap for Helguera, and we carry on. Zé Roberto, Gerard, Cliver. If anything, this change has probably made Foss Road stronger. Van der Vaart continues to come forward, but Zé Roberto was offside. 3 minutes being added on. We're into those 3 minutes now. Nothing happening in injury time, and the boring Exiles are back. Despite creating a shed load of chances, not even getting 50% of them on target, though, they come away with a 1-0 win against what looked like a lackluster Foss Road, apart from maybe a 10-15 minute spell, Ross.
Yeah, I think Rocks will take that. I mean, he possibly would have wanted a bit more with the chances created, but nevertheless, a win's a win. Take it.
Certainly is. The match winner getting man of the match for this one in Figo. Solid ratings throughout. Even Gravison's come on, and in his half-an-hour cameo, he's played a part. So yeah, I think you're right. Rocks will be very happy. Foss Road, it was just distinctly average, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think, like you say, I don't know if Smuts has got any transfers left before the deadline, whether he will use them wisely or not, or is he happy with what he's got and just missing, that one or two key players.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Rock's praising his players here, hit the woodwork 3 times as well. So saying he preferred it when he got everyone injured and sent off. At least he had an excuse. And there's Steve as well. Well, congratulations to Exiles, who follow up the big win last time with another win here. And people just start to take notice of them again. We're not going to Stackington Fulchester, so let's go to the next team on the list, which means we're going to Haggis versus Sancte. The home teams without Cannavaro, still without Jacques, still without Zenden. They have made the call at this late stage of the season to strip Walter Samuel of the armband and give it to Veron. Interesting move. The team itself stays exactly... No, one change. Nikolai comes in up front and Grade A drops to the bench.
Yeah. I mean, the captain changes if there's a method to Ian's madness in that one. I don't know. Maybe he just fancied a change up. But, yeah. I mean, Haggis are a strong side, aren't they?
Monterrubio has a calf strain, but at 90% deemed fit enough to play. I'm guessing because it's such a big fixture is the reason. Let's have a look at the away side, who beat Coast 2-0 last time out, and unsurprisingly, go as is.
Mm-hmm. Again, very, very strong. I know Duggan transferred out Ronaldinho, didn't he? But he got a good deal.
Kuhl and Stam, yeah.
Where he's able to even, I think Argel was on fire, weren't he, just before that move?
That's right, yeah. Arguably the best defender in the league before that.
Yeah, and even Archie back, if you can afford to have players like that on the bench, you know you're doing something right.
Absolutely. Martin suggesting big bragging rights at stake here. So who is going to claim those bragging rights, sir?
I think, what have I gone for? Let me have a look. Where are we? I've gone for a Desmond 2-2 draw.
A 2-2 draw. Everyone else in the top 6 would be delighted if that was to be the case. Ooh. A huge injury after just 11 minutes. Filippo Inzaghi going off. Steve suggesting interesting game for sure. Archie, back the obvious answer here.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if it was me, Arch back then, I'd possibly put back on the right, Owen on the left, but some people might not be that sort of superstitious. I don't know.
Well, we'll wait to see what Pope Duggan says to do with his. Not ideal when your main talisman goes off so early.
No, not. Yeah, they are straight swap for back. No, it's not ideal, but back's a good replacement, so he might be able to come in and prove himself.
And Owen and Kuehl getting involved. They've been decent since they came in. A couple of games into their Sancte careers. I'm starting to see Van Nistelrooy's name and Veron's name. Martin just put in best Pippo anyone has ever seen, allegedly. We get to half-time, 0-0. The perfect result for everyone except these two clubs.
Very even stats as well, isn't it? So I knew it was going to be a close game, but I thought there might be a few goals with the players that are on the pitch. But
looking at the Haggis team first, then couple of sixes, mostly sevens throughout. Everyone's seeing the ball, just not seemingly able to do much with it at the moment. Conditional wise, I'm looking at Monterrubio. He's dropped to 85, so I'm sure he'll be fine. Del Vecchio on the same himself. Moving over to Sancte, who Duggan has already said as is without seeing the stats. We do have a Haggis change incoming. Bravest manager goes narrow in the second half to secure the W here, says Martin. So we are going Nikolai off for Quade. And we resume the game and see if that change does affect things. Haggis with the first chance of the half. And Sancte scoring. It's a substitute back who puts the away side in the lead on the hour mark. Huge goal that, isn't it?
Yes, big goal that. I wonder if that goal just before the 60-minute sort of stoppage as such, will Duggan change anything to try and secure it, or will he just stay as is to carry on?
No, it's a brilliant question, to be fair. No yellow cards, no real fitness concerns, just an all-round performance concern from Haggis today, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not I think again another team that are missing one or two players, and there's no Cannavaro, is there?
And Monterrubio is coming off for Casas. Martin saying, wingers to AMC for Haggis, let's go. So there is the change confirmed for Haggis. Let's have a look over at Sancte. The ratings just looking that touch stronger tonight. The bigger players turning up. Shogatos not overly involved, which is a shock because he's normally a player who likes to be involved and create and get assists and stuff. But again, no real issues.
No, and nothing like you say. I just seen Duggan's comment. He's happy to leave it as is.
Ian has made a late alteration. He is going with the narrow.
Fair play, yeah. See if that alters anything.
I'll leave this on the screen for 20 seconds to see if he wants arrows on those two now inverted wingers. Do you think it will cause enough chaos for them to get back into this game?
I mean, Sloths are narrow, and it seems to have an effect. So let's if it works elsewhere.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And imitation is the greatest form of flattery, as they say as well.
Arrows.
Okay, let's see what happens. Huge game this. Half an hour to go. Tactical change. And a red card. And thankfully, in a way, for Haggis, it's not the main centre-back. Martin going hashtag up the narrow. Are we going to get hashtag up the one at the back next? course, this means that Sancte are allowed to react as well, which he has done by saying "as is for us," and Ian going one at the back. No problem at all. Surely that should be enough, you would imagine, for Sancte now. But while it remains 1, you just never know. 88 now on the clock. Still just 1-0 to the away side. They've got the extra man as well. 4 minutes being added on. Guede picks up the ball. Petit fouls. And there's a free kick. Samuel's knocked over. Another free kick to Haggis. Veron misses the target. Into injury time. Is there one last chance? Possibly. And it's a foul. Owen goes in the book. Veron to hit it. Del Vecchio, Van Nistelrooy, Perez! And they just failed to put the ball in over the line. And Sancte do come away with a massive 1-0 victory.
I think Duggan will be very pleased with that. Away from home at Haggis. Don't know what that does to the league. I don't look that far up at the minute. But there might be some moving and shaking going on in that top 6.
There is. And you quite rightly would talk about teams with deals left. And given this is game week 17, only a couple of game weeks left to get those done before the deadline passes. Will any of the managers that have these deals left think of doing something late? Looking at the ratings, it's in particular, I'm looking at Nicolai Van Nistelrooy and Del Vecchio there. It's just not quite happened from an attacking perspective for the home side, has it?
No, all on 6s. A few shots, but yeah, not many chances created there, is there?
Doug is saying Campbell and Martin is a tactical and unholy alliance is something I wasn't expecting. Hag is calling it the disappointing narrow. And Alf suggesting that Duggan is motoring. Let's have a look at the Sancte. Massimo Ambrosini picks up man of the match for this game. Archibald, obviously the match winner. And a couple of other notable performances, the likes of Khan and Steve Finnan as well. Yeah,
just as a solid performance in there. Nothing lower than a 6 in Zaghi. That's understandable. Nothing lower than a 7. Good performance. Take it.
Congratulations to the away side. Next, we go to Stanley versus Dudley Hill. Stanley, who were unceremoniously told in the intro that they were going to drop out the top 6 before the end of the season. They host a Dudley Hill side who are still without Rustico. In terms of changes, there's a couple for Dudley. Keane comes back in. And Soroczynski starts in place of Malewski, who drops to the bench. Tater saying, imagine Ambrosini being good. If only Stackington needed decent DMCs, eh?
Yeah, I gifted Ambrosini to Duggan early on in the season, and Tato will never let me forget that.
Your thoughts on Dudley Hill? They're a very up and down side. Sometimes they look great, sometimes they look awful. It's very rare they look anywhere in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, I beat them last week with a narrow 1-0 win, didn't I? But I don't know if he's made any changes from that game at all.
Well, from your game, it will be... so it was the 2 that I mentioned. So Keane's back in and Soroczynski's in.
Yeah, so maybe he's looking to try and change things up.
Let's have a look.
Salas had a good game performance-wise against, but just couldn't get the finished product.
That's right. As for Stanley, they have made changes too. I just need to see. So Scally is out. He's replaced by Sand. Ekiog is out. He's replaced by Brown, which has also given Vashuk a place on the bench. Your thoughts on this Stanley 11 for tonight?
Again, it's one of them teams who it's got good individuals. Carlos, Davids, obviously Tizelko. Pinto I do like as
evident last season.
So, yeah, I mean, it's got flickers of
Oh,
goodness.
that one's ghost gamed. So we're going to East Coast versus LSK instead. LSK last time out, they got the humbling from Exiles, but they have decided to go as is regardless.
Yeah, I mean that's fair enough, I guess. So maybe he's trying to get a team together that will eventually, a bit like I did, really stick with what you've got, and hopefully something changes.
Yeah, absolutely. They really do need to try and close this gap as soon as possible. Otherwise, it will be a season at the bottom for the returning legend that is Mr. Hopkins. As for East Coast, they also make a couple of changes from memory. Viduka back in up top, and D'Alessandro coming in on the left-hand side.
Yeah, I don't dislike it. D'Alessandro came in from me as well.
That's right.
See if he does any better than he did for me. I mean, to be fair, I didn't play him very often.
No,
he's still, for me, he's still a young player that's got room to grow. But if Dimble's happy to give him a chance, he might prove me wrong.
And there's the evidence: 3 starts and 1 sub appearance for you during the course of this campaign. This one hasn't ghosted, so can I have a score prediction for this game, please?
2-0 home win.
A 2-0 home win. You get the feeling with the players available to the home side, Fabio Barthez is going to be very busy. Ooh. But just maybe that is the things. Bit of luck that LSK needed. So Vredo has been sent off. East Coast are down to 10 men.
Very early on as well, isn't it?
Very early on. Very, very early on. I cannot see Dimble going 1 at the back in this situation. The question is, who does he sacrifice? Is Viduka only getting 3 minutes on his return to the start?
Yes.
He is the answer. Viduka off. Bishkan on. Greavesy's here. Evening, Greavesy.
Hall of Famer.
Deserved Hall of Famer. I hope you're well, buddy. Long time no speak. Nice to see you joining the stream. You've come at a good time as well. Got East Coast versus Stanley, and very early doors, East Coast have gone down to 10 men. Now, have we seen Mike in the chat? It's not Mike. Anyway,
no, it's not Mike, is it? It's Hopkins. But I haven't seen Hopkins in either, to be fair.
No, nor me. But sometimes he does watch in the background, so I'll give him, where are we? Another 20 seconds to see if he wants to change anything. If not, we'll carry on. You've obviously, as we've entertained a few times, not been short of a red card this season. But so early, it just throws the whole game plan out, doesn't it?
It does, really, yeah. You're now hoping to not concede goal. I mean, without sounding awful, he might be lucky that it's against Santos and not a more. If it was against Vikings or Bern or something, you might be worried. He might feel that he can keep Santos at bay.
Yeah, quite possibly. LFK do seem to have been encouraged by that red card. A gap goes into the book. But there's Ronaldinho, his first ever goal for East Coast. And the 10 men are now a goal up. And we'll just see what LSK have about them in terms of coming back into this approaching half-time. And there is the half-time whistle. Coast with the lead. It has been close, but maybe just that extra bit of class and talent shining through.
Yeah, you've only got to have that one extra key component makes all the difference.
It certainly does. Having a look at the home side stats first. Of those who remain on the pitch, Shevchenko the only player on a 6, everyone else 7 or higher.
Yes. So maybe, I mean, he's had one shot. But is that because the I mean, Ronaldinho scored, didn't he? Is the ball not getting up there enough to him for him to be able to do anything with it?
Well, Dimble's happy enough with what he's seen. He's got no changes. We'll just flash LSK stats up. And again, it's just... although they're not being completely played off the park, you could just see that it's just not happening for them. It's another very average 45 minutes.
Yeah, lots of sixes there, aren't there? And same as one of the early games. I don't remember which one it was, but the passing and the key column is low everywhere, isn't it?
Could we just say, not been on any social media since December. Out of every loop, thought I'd hop on and see how you all are. Well, thank you. Appreciate you gracing us with your presence. No word from Jamie, so we'll carry on to 60.
Yeah, I've not seen Jamie in the chat, so I don't know. He didn't leave you any instructions, I imagine.
No, Smuts was the only one that did. So we've reached the hour mark. Still 1-0. Do you see Coast changing anything here?
Possibly. Would you take Shevchenko off on a 6 still and put Hussein on?
Just to try something a little bit different?
Yeah. A bit of fresh legs could always change something, but with him being his captain, maybe not.
And Dimble saying, roll, please. So we will do. And as is common practice, we'll just flash this up for Jamie. So when he watches it back, assuming he does watch this back, he can see what's going on. Still just loads of sixes.
See, I like Tristan. I would give Tristan more of a run out, personally.
So we will resume with no changes to either side. Half an hour still to play. And so LSK have had a little bit of... they've had a moment, but East Coast look like they're going to see this one out. Could we get injury time drama?
Yes.
Well, no.
Well,
yeah, yes and no. Shevchenko did score, but it was ruled offside. Coast sort of, although the stats look equal, the text kind of suggested to me they cruised to a 1-0 win there.
Even game, 10 against 11, which, I mean, doesn't bode well for Santos, I don't suppose.
No, not really. It depends on what happens. It might pull them a point closer to some teams, but they really need... well, now, obviously, let me try that again because they lost. It's best case scenario, they're exactly where they were, just with a game less to save themselves.
Yeah. And I mean, who's above them? It's Fulchester?
Fulchester, yeah.
And then obviously myself, and we're playing each other. So if either one of myself or Fulchester win tonight, it takes us further away from the bottom.
Yeah, absolutely. Igor Bishka, the substitute, actually getting man of the match. Kovalchuk can't be overlooked either for his performance. LSK, Van Bronckhorst tried his best, but he seemed to be the only one in the team trying.
That's another... Van Bronckhorst was another DMC that stuck it and gave away. Seems to be a theme here.
Indeed. Well, congratulations to East Coast, who maintain their hunt for top 6 with a victory. Next, the game that we've been waiting for, and some transfer news as well. I'm not sure if it's been made public or not yet, but Freddie Ljungberg is on his way out of Bern. He is heading for Badgers with... I can't remember who's coming the other way. Cassano coming the other way into Bern. So that should be all signed and sealed before the next game. Roy Keane suspended, as we were discussing last night. Big one for this game.
Yeah. We did talk about that, and he's gone for Drozdov in to replace him. So I know in Edward's little write-up that he did on his team news, he was calling for a big performance from Drozdov.
Certainly was. Alf just deciding to pick now of all moments to remind me how shit my actual football team are. Thanks, Alf. I appreciate that. So enforced to make that change, but he's also, on a plus side, got his first choice centre-back pairing back.
Yeah, well, I was Turan was out, wasn't he? If I remember.
They were both out in the last game.
Was they?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a positive, which I feel he's going to need because Vikings are in a bit of form at the minute, aren't they?
Absolutely. I mean, this game, if Vikings win this, I think they've all but secured top spot already.
Yeah, they're starting to break away a little bit, aren't they?
But Northern Burn are the sort of team who, if they get, the gap at the minute is 7, but if that becomes 4, Northern Burn are the team that you're saying, they will claw those 4 points back.
Yeah, so this is a not a must win for Edwards, but he's going to want to win it and, like I say, close that gap.
Vikings were the unfortunate team for the big injury. Jens Jeremy's out for 3 weeks, alongside at the same time Cafu missing. And something we were talking about, which if you listen to Late Lives, was how influential both of those players are on this team. Patsazoglu continues at right wing back. Kaladze comes in at DM with Paredes moving over to that right-hand side. Sokoviak, I feel, also is coming in for this game. Yeah, Brujink started last time. Sokoviak in for this one. They're big losses, aren't they, Cafu and Jeremy's?
Yeah, well, we had a quick look at the ratings, didn't we, last night?
Yeah.
And pointed both of those out. Is that a kick? Because I think I pointed out that Vikings have only conceded 9 all season.
That's right, yeah.
Out of 16 games, which is incredible. And then you looked at the ratings, and both of the defensive players that are missing are out. We're in there.
So, big game this at the top of the table. Can I have a score prediction, please?
I have gone for a Viking 2-1 win.
Viking 2-1 win. They started quickly, the home side, but Burn now playing their way into it. And Nedved on the volley, just missing. And there is the goal, and there is that man again, leading the charge for the Golden Boot. Penalty awarded, and Rio Ferdinand scores. It's 2-0. And suddenly, are Vikings laying down the gauntlet saying this is their trophy to lose? At half-time, huge 45 minutes coming up in the season now. How often do you see a team make Northern Burn look that ordinary?
I know, they've kept them quiet, haven't they? 1 shot off target, nothing to worry about. 2-0 ahead at half-time.
What's the points tally total in Super? As in the record, did Hodgie not get it a couple of seasons ago? 80-something, I think. If that's the question being asked, it seems to ring a bell. Let's have a look at the home team first. Spectacular ratings. Just Kaladze not quite up to the same, not quite up to the races with the rest of his teammates.
Everyone else playing so well, it's not mattered.
Mr. Edwards, despite the lackluster performance thus far, going as is, I mean, Candea 5, Fiore 5, Scholes 5, Ortega 5. That's horrible. Jens going as is as well. So we're straight back into the action. And it should have been free. And that really would have sealed the game. Kaladze goes into the book.
I think your shout of 80-odd points has been...
I can't think 55 was right. That seems too low almost. Maybe it was early 60s then. I can't remember. I'd have to dig it out. But 55 just seems a bit low. I mean, Duggan remembers a lot more about this than I do, so he's probably right. It just seems a bit low. Jens going as is again, unsurprising, really, given what we've seen thus far. Let's have a look at Burn. I mean, some of the fives have changed now.
Will Edwards do a rare change?
Steve saying that this Vikings team will get a star. Well, they're on their way to topping the table at least, which will give them the best opportunity of getting to the final to earn that star. No one will want to come up against this Vikings team right now, will they? Tato saying, I think Vikings will win the league, but not the star. 62 says Dimble. That sounds about right. Yeah, low 60s. And Ian saying as is, and Duggan confirming 62 is the answer.
So just bearing that in mind, is Jens on course to match or beat that at all? Is it possible?
Well, this win currently puts them on 39, so that will leave them 23 short with 27 to play for. So it'll be very close.
Yeah.
See, I can do some maths. But he would have to go on an absolute mad one, win just about every game between now and the end of the season to do it. Which just goes to show how good that team of Hodges was. And the fact that he didn't win the star with it was outrageous. Full time comes 2-0.
I was nearly right with my prediction.
No, he's on 39 now, is what I was saying, Duggan. So he'd be... Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I see what you're saying now. Okay. It's the joy of reading text. You read it wrong.
The way Vikings are going, you wouldn't put it past him, to be fair. Look at them, them stats there.
I can't remember anyone making Northern Burn look that bad. Vikings stats. Henri gets man of the match. Imperious Jens, we should have stayed at home. So the maths Duggan's done, it says they'd only be able to drop 5 points between now and the end of the season to match it. That's as polished a performance I think we've seen from anyone tonight.
It just goes to show the depth in squad. Missing Cafu and Jeremiz has not really made any difference, has it?
As for a big performance from Drostov, he got it. He just got a shit performance from everyone else.
2 yellows for the centre backs.
Yeah. 5, a shed load of 6s. Just simply not good. Well, it's whether you class it as not good enough from Northern Burn or just superb from Vikings. But as Steve says, that is some performance there. And Vikings now opening up a healthy lead at the top of the table. Does that take us to... Yes, because of the Ghost game, our penultimate game is your game. Home to Fulchester. You adopt... You do a change from last time out. Instead of 2 behind 1, you go 1 behind 2. Ebby Sand partners Morientes, Rui Costa in the hole himself. Again, I reiterate my comments, I think, from the last stream. This 4 now looks a lot stronger than what you were playing maybe 2-3 game weeks ago. Yeah,
bringing in Takanadi in the recent... them 3 extra deals you gave us has helped, obviously, the balance of the DMCs. Because I was... As much as I've got lots of them, they're all very average.
Yeah,
I feel now I've got a couple of better options.
What prompted the move to go 2 up top in this one?
I don't think Killy Gonzalez quite done it for me last match. I wasn't too pleased with how he done, and Sand's been I'm a bit like, not as to the degree as Alf, where I do 200 home save matches, but I do a few, and Sand was popping up every so often, so I thought I'll give him a chance.
Okay. As for your opponents, they are without the suspended Materazzi tonight. He's replaced by Viali. Serginho returns to the 11 in place of Duff as well. Are you surprised to see Fulchester languishing down in 13th?
Yes, in a roundabout way, because they've got lots of talent in that team. Is it just one of them A bit like Los Santos, lots of talent in there, but it's just not doing it for whatever reason. Whether it's just the game engine or something that the manager's not quite got their finger on yet, I don't know.
On last night's recording of Limbs, we spoke about your targets for the season and just checking different boxes off. If you were to be able to open a 5-point gap on Fulchester tonight, that would go a long way in terms of the content we were discussing yesterday.
Yeah, the progression, even though, what's this, game week 17, isn't it? So 17 games into my Super League career, it's just progression, isn't it? Started off where I was to where I am. Now I feel I've moved up the ladder, possibly, a little.
Mm-hmm. Well, as is customary, I won't ask you a prediction. I will just say wish you the very best of luck and wish Macca the very best of luck. As we kick off our penultimate game of the evening, Stackington hosting Fulchester, 12th versus 13th. And there's Mendieta after 18 minutes, giving the home side the lead. It goes from bad to worse for Fulchester. They just cannot buy a performance and result at the moment. But huge goal at the foot of the table. We're into injury time at the end of first half. A chance wasted, but there's Robin to level things up on the whistle. 1 apiece at half time. Probably, I would suggest, felt fair on the reflection of the text, but stats would suggest that you'd created more opportunities.
Yeah, maybe a bit too wasteful, 4 off target. But yeah, that's better. I know previous games I've not been creating too much, and them stats there are a million times better than what they have been first half.
A 5 for Vogel at half time, a 5 for Beckham as well. All around with a whole host of 6s, nobody above a 7. Not a particularly good first half performance, and some grim reading there for Macca. As for yourself, you do have an 8 in Ashley Cole. Everyone else on a 7, with the exception of your 2 strikers who are on 6s.
Yeah, you'd look at Cole on an 8, seems generous with his passing. He's not done a lot compared to some of the others around him, but maybe what he has done has been key, hasn't it? And he's won tackles.
Yeah. Would you be looking to make any halftime alterations here?
No, I'm going to stay as is till at least 60.
Okay.
Yeah, we fair. I don't believe Macca's been in the chat at all.
No, I haven't seen Macca either. I'm just stalling for time to give him an extra 10-15 seconds in case he's lurking in the background. But if not, we will continue on into the second half of this crucial game. Free kick awarded. Stackington looking to regain the advantage they lost just before the break. Need to be careful not to overcommit too much, because Fulchester are dangerous if they get to create themselves. We reached the hour, Ross. Still 1 apiece. How are you feeling at this point?
I feel I'm going to make just a 1 change.
Okay.
I'm going to Morientes off for Rayed. Bring Rayed back to, yeah, that's it. And then not his central sand. Perfect.
Arrows or no arrows?
I'll have an arrow on Rayed Diag, please.
Like that?
That's it. Perfect. Thank you.
No worries. As for Fulchester, still those 2 keen players on 5s, which is so rare for Macca. Ronaldo not really putting it in tonight either. Vogel and Wellens both on cards. No conditional issues of note. It's not a particularly strong-looking bench. I mean, I know Donny and Torres are both attacking options, but I wouldn't be really trusting them to come on and change this game. Jens appreciates the Diag arrow there. So we will resume for the final half an hour and see what happens. And it's 2, and it's Sand, and he's surely wrapped it up. What a result! Would this be 3 wins in a row for Stackington?
It will be if it comes off.
Wow! Huge Huge result in the offing here. And it has come off. 3 on the bounce for Stackington.
That is music to my ears. That is excellent.
Another milestone ticked off. A good performance against a decent outfit who, yes, they were on an off day, but you did what you had to do.
It's the teams around us, like Dudley, who I beat last week, Fulchester tonight, that we've got to beat. Like you say, that's now opened up a 5-point gap between myself and Macca. And who? Oh, that's not my stats.
No, do you want me to go back to yours?
I was just going to say who got the assists.
Ashley Cole got 1.
And nobody else.
And no one this second.
Solo effort from Sand, maybe. No, pleased with that.
Good. I'm glad you're pleased. It's always easier for me when the co-coms is happy. So that means we get to go. We conclude the evening's entertainment with the game that ghosted earlier. Just a reminder of how both teams line up. Stanley are like this. And Dudley Hill are like this. Alf suggesting Stackington moving like a Ferrari. No luck, Macca. A score prediction for the final game of the night, then, please.
A 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw to conclude the evening is predicted. Stanley starting quickly, failing to convert. Dudley Hill then come forward and they do score. Keane on 17 minutes gives the away side the lead. Time flying by this game. We're already at 41 minutes. And it's 1 apiece. Sigalko on 43. And we reached the halftime whistle. That was incredibly fast, but 2 very interesting goals.
Yeah, not a lot. Seemed to be a lot of text for not much reward.
Mike's made it in just in time to see his game, which is the last game of the evening.
Perfect timing.
Well done, Mike. Let's bring your stats up first. It probably reads how I expected it to. You mentioned that Roberto Carlos, one of the better players in the Stanley team. He is the man rating an 8. As for Dudley Hill, Woodgate and Terry both on 5s. This horrible viewing for Steve when Abiati's getting a 6 as well. Van Bommel continues not to impress. And Salas not impressing either. Mike's saying nearly left after that first goal. What would you be doing if you were Dudley in this situation?
Defensively is not good reading, is it? Both on a 5, but you've got Malevsky. Would you? Probably nothing, to be fair.
Okay. In other news, if you haven't seen it, I watched the film Gran Turismo today that came out earlier this year, or was
Right.
back end of last year. Very, very good film, I thought. Very, very good film.
Is that based on it used to be a computer game, didn't it? A car race.
That's right. It's based on a true story associated to the computer game, yes.
Right, okay.
About sim racers who learn to be proper racing car drivers.
I shall put that on the list.
So it's a half decent watch. Which generally means it won't win any Oscars, and Rotten Tomatoes will fucking hate it because they hate everything that's actually good and just like stuff that I've never heard of.
Yeah.
Do you think Mike will be doing anything at halftime?
No. Maybe at 60, he might look to bring Mido on for. Pinto's got the assist, but maybe the yellow card might make a.
Mike is going as is. So let's go to 60 and see what happens in this final game of the evening. Are we going to get
hopefully
a
nothing,
winner?
and then my prediction will be right.
Are we going to get a winner? Still plenty of time in this contest yet. Yellow card dished out as we pause the game. 62 minutes, I believe, on the clock. On a knife edge, this one.
Yeah, close game, isn't it? I don't know. We didn't see the match stats just then, but
no fitness issues. Couple of yellow cards, though, which might make Mike think a little bit. Ratings-wise.
Always dubious with Davids on a yellow. He likes to throw a tackle about, doesn't he?
He does like a tackle, does Davids. As for Dudley Hill, ratings not too dissimilar because Stanton's had a bit of an impact since he came on. No yellow cards yet and no fitness worries. So could Steve go as his and, as they say, trust the process?
But Woodgate and Terry have improved by 1 rating each, so that's a good sign.
They certainly have. Which manager blinks first is the question. Looking in the chat for the answer. Nothing from Savage, nothing from Steve. Waiting for them to come through.
They're both writing a big long paragraph for you.
Probably, which is fine. I can deal with that. What have you made of the evening overall tonight so far, with this being the last game, obviously?
Yeah, it's been some. Beforehand, I think we spoke about it last night, didn't we? There's some big games with the likes of Vikings Burn, Haggis Sancte, even Badgers Slough, really, because Sloughs are on the up, as we saw tonight.
Super League legend Mido coming on for Clarence Seedorf, going to partner João Pinto in AM Davids as the lone CM. Does that put him even more at risk on his yellow card?
Possibly. I mean, I know obviously Davids has got a DMC as his positioning, but so's Mendieta, and I like to play Mendieta in the middle on his own.
Hersey coming on for Day and going longer arrows on the wing backs for Dudley Hill.
More attacking in it, Hersey, than Day.
Absolutely. Let's see then which of those tactical tweaks pays off. This is why the managers get paid the big monies to make these decisions. Are we destined? Mike say, come on, Steve, let's have it into the final 10 minutes. Cole, San puts it into Rosette. Keane now picks it up. Contra, Constantino saved. He's let it run free. And they get away with it, Stanley. 4 minutes being added on. Sigalko, Mido. Terry's there, unable to control Pinto. Couldn't keep it down. Davids puts it wide. Into injury time. Are we going to get limbs? Sorochinsky, Keane. Sand goes in the book. Free kick to Dudley Hill. Constantino! Oh. What a goal that is at both ends of the table. Injury time drama in the last game of the night.
Savage will be spitting feathers.
And we've got, oh my God, says Rox, is the instant reaction in the chat. And can you believe it? Steve's even apologizing. What was your thoughts at instant reaction at full time?
I thought it was all over at 1-1, but I think a late free kick went there, and
yeah,
Connie's in there with a, I'm going to say a header. Not that I know that, but I'm just
it was guessing. A header. Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so a nice that would cheer Steve up after his performance last week. That'll stop him moaning at me.
Tater saying, glad of that after I lost tonight. As the managers continue to react in the chat, just showing both sets of stats there. Contra picking up man of the match, and Rock saying Jonathan Woodgate with a trademark pinpoint delivery. Steve suggesting the Zanoni 5 hurts.
Yeah, I when you asked before we kicked off that the top 6, I said Stanley might just slip out, didn't I?
You did, and it's results like this that could end up costing them. So we've got our classified results. Badgers 1, Sloughs 3, East Coast 1, Los Santos 0, Exiles 1, Foss Road 0, Haggis 0, Sancte 1, Stackington 2, Fulchester 1, Stanley 1, Dudley Hill 2, and Vikings 2, Northern Burn 0. Woodgate's free kick delivery is the reason he's been traded to the Valhallans in that other league, says Jens. Let's have a look at what that does to the league table then. So we've now got Vikings top 39, 9 clear of new team in second, Sancte on 30, who are a point ahead of Burn, 29, who themselves are a point ahead of Badgers, 28, a point ahead of Haggis, 27. East Coast round up the top 6 on 24. Sloths now in 7th, 23. Exiles and Stanley also 23, making up 7, 8, and 9. Foss Road in 10th, 21. Dudley Hill in 11th, also 21. So within 3 points of the top 6 themselves. Stackington 12th on 19. Just a 5-point gap for you now, Ross. It's not over yet. Fulchester in 13th. They are on 14 points. You're starting to think realistically 10 points is too big a gap. And Los Santos 5 points adrift at the bottom on 9 points. Mike saying this game, same players and tactics from one extreme to the other. Final word from you then, Ross. What do you make of the action you've seen tonight?
Yeah, I think there's been some cracking games. Sloths being the standout game for me. Alf doing what Alf does and just sort of tearing up the rule book. Jens, he's got the Vikings rowing in the right direction. And Sancte as well, another, I wouldn't say a surprise performance because Sancte are a very good side, but to get an away win at Haggis, fair play.
No, absolutely.
And I think you'd say that took them second, didn't it? Now Sancte.
Yeah. I'm seeing lots of thank you messages in the chat. You're very welcome. It's what we do. I think there's been an offer, but I don't think anything's been confirmed yet for Thursday's episode. So if you'd like to be on comms on Thursday, do confirm via message the fixtures for that live show. We've got Dudley Hill versus Burn, East Coast versus Vikings, Foss versus Badgers, Fulchester Sloths, Haggis versus Exiles, LSK Stackington, and Sancte versus Stanley. Ross, win your next one. You've all but secured not finishing bottom.
I'm not going to say anything because it will be the game where Santos turn up and win 4-0 or something ridiculous.
Yeah. Wise decision.
Just carry on ticking along and hopefully, like I say, 3 wins back to back for me now is a good platform to work off.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for your time over the course of the whole weekend. Do be sure to check out the latest edition of Late Limbs because Ross put together a hell of a quiz for me and Smuts. It was very, very good. So well worth a watch. And then we put 1 or 2 together for him. Perhaps not so good, but just as entertaining to watch him get the pressure turned on. Thank you again, mate, for your time this weekend. Very much appreciated. Packs will likely be out tomorrow, if not Tuesday. Apart from that, from Super League HQ, have a great rest of your weekend and good night.
Toodles.